It's me. Super excited to get into this one. I am getting towards the end of this track that I've been working on with you guys for the past couple of weeks. It now has a name, Stuck on You. At least I think that's what I'm going to call it. Anyway, I'm getting towards the end here, and I put a vocal on it. It's a vocal that I grabbed off of Splice. The original vocal sounds like this.
I'm stuck on you. Been waiting endless nights to get a call. Hung up on you. I wonder, do you ever think of me too? I'm stuck on you.
Anyway, it does that and another section. But anyway, you get the idea. But as I was putting it on the track, I realized I wanted to have some backing Damn you. As I was putting it on the track, I realized I wanted to have some backing vocals. And I didn't have, obviously, another take of the vocal here. And I wanted to do something different with it. Actually, not that different for this time, but because I do hear it a lot on tracks lately. But it's adding the background vocals via a vocoder. So that's the tip I'm going to go over with you today. Let's dive into it. So here's the track in question. I bounced it down to audio. Quick sidebar. I'm going to put like a hashtag, maybe hashtag stuck on you in the description. If you click on that, that'll show you all the videos, the tutorials that work on this track. So you can see kind of its progress. But anyway, here it is, bounced down to a 2-track here in orange. And then I started to lay the vocal over it. Oh, you should know I warped the vocal in Ableton. It's just easier. So I warped the vocal in Ableton. I also pitched it in Ableton. It was, I think, 1 semitone off. This song is in G major, and the vocal is in E minor, which is the relative minor to G major. So, yeah, I think it was actually in like E flat minor, and I had to move it up. Anyway, that's way too much information. So the other thing was I added the vocoder, and I'll just play this for you so you can hear the background vocals and how they add to the song. And actually, you can just hear the song with vocals on it now. So yeah, here we go.
I'm stuck on you. Been waiting endless nights to get a call. Hung up on you. I wonder, do you ever think of me too? I'm stuck on you. Been waiting endless nights to get a call. Hung up on you. I wonder, do you ever think of me too? I'm stuck on Please
Boom. So that's how I have it so far. I do want to add more vocoder action. But here, let me just show you how I made that vocoder action. So the first thing you need to do to think about, so a vocoder itself doesn't really do anything. You have to, it takes two things to make it work. One, it takes the original signal coming through it. You know, in this case, it's a voice. And then it takes a modulator input, which is usually a synthesizer or just something that shoots MIDI out, I think. No, actually, that's not true. Not just MIDI, because actually the sound that comes out of the modulator input counts too. So they're both coming in as audio. Let me correct that before things get off the rails. Okay, so they're both coming in as audio. So the way I set mine up, so I have the original track that has just the vocal on it with my processing. If you want to know how I process this vocal too, because there's a lot of trickery actually going on, particularly with when the delays come in. Let me know in the comments, and I'll do a video just on how I processed it, how I took it from the raw to fit it into my track. Anyway, so this is just the vocal, and the thing you need from the vocal is just a version of it going out. So I'm using the parallel output. This is a trick I use in my other videos. The parallel out is going to a splitter. Forget about this side of the splitter side. Look at the merger side. The splitter side is for the routing I did on the actual vocal itself. But on the merger side, I'm actually taking the parallel out, going. Let me hit K, so you can just see. Okay, so this parallel out is going to the spider audio. It's going to the splitter side, but this is kind of confusing because one of the splits is actually going back to itself. You can just follow my mouse here. Going back to itself. I needed a mono out. That's what I needed. I needed a mono signal. I processed my vocal. This vocal came to me from Splice's stereo, and I'm processing it stereo. It's stereo. So I needed a mono version. So I'm going out from the spider, into the spider, out mono. That's all you need to really know about this. Now, if we follow this cable is going into the modulator input on the vocoder. I think I confused that earlier. This is the modulator input is the voice. And you can't screw it up because they put a microphone here because it is confusing. Anyway, so your voice goes in here into the vocoder, and then the vocoder takes your voice, and then you can play chords on top of it. Here, I don't even know if you're a newbie, you might not even know what a vocoder sounds like. So let me just solo that track and show you. I'm taking her voice and I'm playing these chords down here. Let's make them bigger. Bigger. So on this section here, turn the snap off. We'll solo just the vocoder. F5, vocoder is soloed. Silly me. So if you listen, so that's a support line for whatever she said there. If we put her back in and I turn the vocoder up so you can really hear it. Zoom out a bit. I'm pressing Command Shift and using my mouse wheel to zoom either out or in on the horizontal plane.
Been waiting endless nights to get a call.
So you hear how it sounds like there's 3 robots that joined her there? That's what the vocoder is doing. Now, so those chords are being played by this Thor. Let me finish the routing part before I get ahead of myself here. So, okay. You put the voice into the vocoder. Then you need a synth. I chose a Thor. I always choose a Thor. I suggest you choose a Thor. And what you program as the patch on the Thor actually counts towards the sound of the vocoder. So keep that in mind. You could actually flick through. I made my own patch here. I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted square waves. You can see that here because I wanted something with rich harmonic, like high harmonic content. I want the voice to stay clear, so I need higher frequency content. If I did a sine wave, it would sound dark. which is crazy. But anyway, so I use a square wave, but along your vocoder travels, flick through these presets and see what they do to your voice. It's crazy. Anyway, so I use the square wave. I put a little bit of low pass filter on it because it was actually too bright on the voice, and I'll show you how much the things can change by changing this synth. But anyway, the synth itself comes in unrouted. You can drag it in by holding shift near your vocoder, and then you just route its output to the input of the vocoder. And then the vocoder itself is what is the signal we're going to hear. The vocoder itself via this out. Excuse me, I had a hiccup thing. The vocoder itself via this output is going into the actual channel. And then we'll talk about what other processing I did here. Actually, this is just EQ stuff for the most part and a little stereo width. So it's not even that important, a little reverb. But it's the vocoder itself that is going into the input. Okay. So you get it? Vocoder gets fed via a version. We split a version off of this. A version of your vocal or whatever it is that you want to vocode, which is usually vocal. A version of that goes into the vocoder. And then a synth patch. It's probably the best way to put it. The audio output of a synth patch goes into the vocoder as well, and then they both amalgamate, if you will, and come out there, and then to be put wherever you want.
Hung up on you. I wonder, do you ever think of me too? Ooh, I'm stuck on you. Please make that call.
So you can hear what it's doing there. It's not 100% sure on some of those notes. No, I mean they're all in key, but I feel like I could do a little bit better. But anyway, you get the idea. That's where I use it. That's how I make it. Oh, I wanted to show you what it sounds like when you change things. So if I were to play this, just loop this section right here. So everything matters. The type of filter you use, whether there's delay and chorus on, the type of waves you use, it all matters actually. So if I turn the delay and chorus off, it's more in your face. I think I actually wanted the chorus to push it into the background a little bit more. You can hear the chorus actually come on. You can hear it come off. You can hear the delays come in. They do something different than... Sorry, I shouldn't be talking over it. You can hear the chorus come in. You can hear the delays come in. The delays do something different than they normally do as just delays, but they affect the vocoder a certain way. Here they are together. Here's a fun one. If you turn this into a format filter, all of a sudden you're Daft Punk. Another key thing in the vocoder itself, I just thought about this. I never use it here. I never use it on vocoders, but the shift knob, everything's obviously automatable, but you can automate this if you wanted to. but it changes the pitch, so I don't, not in this case. The other thing is, don't forget, you can always, this vocoder here, it has an equalizer, and these bands are actually, so they're like resolution. So think of this as a kind of a 4-bit almost vocoder. Now I had the last ones down, so we can turn them up. It's just the lower bands. It's just the lower bands. 8 bands, we'll add those upper ones. Kind of has a more 8-bit sound. I think that's how that works. And this would be more of a 16-bit sound, which is where I like it. So there you have it, using a vocoder. Pretty straightforward, super handy. I use it all the time. If you found this to be helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel and throwing a like down there and hitting the bell and doing all, all that stuff. Oh, you can follow me on my socials. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Ugh.